So what we're going to do is I'm going to tell a very embarrassing story that I've never told anyone, that I'm pretty sure that the people that are involved have forgotten about, and I want to see.
So you're going to remind them?
Yeah, and so no, most of them probably won't ever watch this. And then I want to see how these two react to it. Cause this starts out. It's 7th grade. This is my 7th grade year, or my 8th grade year. It was one of the two. 7th or 8th grade. So this would have been 2007, 2008, something like that. And so after school, I usually had to wait a while for my father to come pick up my sister and I, because the lines outside were terribly long and they took forever for cars to get all the way around. It was a terrible system. I don't know why they did it. It was so stupid. But so I'd sit out there and talk with some friends of mine who also who would go outside and wait on their car or had a bus and would sit there and wait for the bus to show up. So these are the kids that I usually ate lunch with, which nowadays I kind of I don't think I'd eat lunch with them anymore. And one of them was in cross country, and he went to all these cross country meets, and he actually went to the middle school equivalent of state, I guess. I don't know what it's called. I didn't keep up with sports in middle school. So he went to that, and there was like this big award ceremony afterwards. So he was sitting in the bleachers, and they announced this one girl to come up and accept an award. And she had a very interesting last name. So he told all of us what this last name was. Everyone laughed. Everyone's like, oh, that's hilarious. And I had just walked up. And so he re-explained the story to me very quickly, told me the last name, and I had no idea what it was. It sounded funny. It was interesting. I was just like, okay. In my head, that's what I was. But then I just was like, ha ha, yeah, that's hilarious. Ah, oh really? You're kidding? Ah, in my little naive 7th grade self. So that's I didn't know. I didn't know what it meant. Didn't matter though. I just heard it was hilarious, and that it was something. It was just very funny. So we all laughed about it. The next day at school, it came up again. We went like, ha, it's funny. I still had no idea. No one asked what it was, so I just had to go with it. I have tea in my hair now. My parents used to own a coffee shop, and it was this coffee shop right downtown, and I'd go there after school every day. It'd close at 5, so I'd be there from about 3:30 to 5 every day, or 3:30 to 6 really, because it took like an hour to clean up. I'd be there every day, and there was always these people that came in at the end of the day, and we called them the village idiots. Well, one day there was my parents, and I'm not sure where my sister was. She was somewhere else. My parents were sitting there. A couple of village idiots, a few patrons of the coffee shop were all sitting around together. And they, I decided, I heard something funny the other day. I think I have a fun story to tell them. I think I have a fun story to tell them. So I'm sitting there and I'm trying to formulate how I'm going to tell this story, because that's just kind of what I do.
You're telling a story about telling a story?
Yeah, really.
It's storyception.
So I decide to start it with, I'm going to go like this. Hey guys, I found out someone's last name who's worse than mine. And in case you don't know, my last name is Cox, C-O-X. I have been asked how to spell it before.
You could go by a symbol if you should ever decide to be the artist formerly known as Thomas Cox. And
I proceed to say the last name. And they don't laugh like I was expecting. They kind of just look at me. They give me like the side eye. They're kind of like, And then my father says, Thomas, don't ever say that again. And so...
Okay.
And so I'm like, okay. He didn't say it like angrily. He just he was kind of like, I think he was partially holding back a laugh. But I think it was less a laugh at what the last name was and more a laugh at he knew I had no idea what that meant. So the last name was, and be prepared, the last name was Cumsucker.
That's not even the real last name.
No, it was.
So unfortunate.
That is...
So unfortunate.
She's lucky that was a little girl was silly. She could marry out of that name. Anybody. She could get married at 16 just to get rid of that name.
Or she could just change her name.
At 18. Might as well get married at 16 and get rid of it 2 years sooner.
But if she doesn't want to get married.
Or maybe she likes her, that's it.
She could.
Maybe that really defines her as a person.
And this is the Mariole and Toodles.
Several symbols, because it's plural.
Anyway.